Good day, you're welcome to this class. This class is brought to you by Isaac Humanitarian Foundation, and I am your teacher, Adewale Eke. It's a C.R.S class, and in today's class, we're going to be studying miracles, like we've always done, but in today's class, like we've done in the last two classes rather, and in today's class, we'll be studying healing miracles, or miracles of healing. Under healing miracles, we'll study the healing of the leper, the healing of the paralytic. We'll study the healing of the centurion's servant. And we'll also study the healing of the blind and blind Bartimaeus. Alright class, now remember this class is brought to you by Isaac Humanitarian Foundation. Now the healing of the leper, and when we're talking about miracles, we're talking about the miracles of Jesus, how Jesus healed different individuals that had different health conditions. In our first class, or in our last class rather, we studied miracles of resuscitation. In our first class, we studied nature miracles. In today's class, we'll be studying miracles of healing, and in our next class, hopefully, we'll study miracles of exorcism, which refers to demoniacs and the like. All right, then. Now back to the leper. Now the Bible says that as Jesus was walking, he saw a leper, and the leper told him, "Master, if you will, you can make me clean." Remember, a leper is a person that has leprosy. A leper is a person that has leprosy. Now we can call the person leprous. Alright? Now the leper told Jesus that, "Master, if you will, you can make me clean." And immediately Jesus Christ said, "I will be clean." Now Jesus Christ replied, "I will be clean." That is, I wish to make you clean and be clean. Immediately this man was clean. And Jesus Christ told him not to tell anyone what has just happened. That he should not tell anyone what has happened, and that he should present himself to the priest according to the law of Moses. Now in the book of the law, now Moses holds that anyone that has been clean of leprosy, before the person can come back to the society and interact with people in the society, the person must first present himself to the priest of God, who will now certify that the person has been healed. Remember, leprosy is a communicable disease. So people that are leprous are isolated. They are recluse. They are not. They do not mingle with the normal people, so that they do not spread their infection. I believe you don't understand me. And people oftentimes are born leprous. Now, the instruction of Jesus to this man was not to tell anyone what has happened to him, but he should present himself to the priest and make the sacrifices according to Moses to the priest. There were 4 things that a cleansed leper was to present to the priest before the cleansed leper can be certified clean and asked to mingle with the entire community. The 4 things that a leper was to present: 1, he was to present a scarlet. A scarlet color is a reddish orange color. Now, when we also say scarlet, we refer to the cloth. We refer to the cloth that is of the reddish orange color, and that was what the leper was to present to the priest. He was also to present cedar wood. He was to present cedar wood. He was to present pigeons, 2 pigeons. And it was to present hyssop. Hyssop is a wood-like substance with, let's say, this marker with different strings or bristles used to sprinkle water. I believe you don't understand me. So the cleansed leper was to present scarlet, cedar wood, pigeons, and what? Hyssop. I think, hyssop is either with 2 S or with a single S. Alright, now this leper who was told by Jesus, not to tell people what had happened, eventually went about telling people what had happened. Alright, so if you're asked under exam condition, did the leper do as Jesus instructed him to do? He did not, because although it is not mentioned whether he actually went to the priest to present these items, but it is mentioned that he went about telling people what had happened to him. Alright, that being said. Alright, now to the healing of the paralytic. The healing of the paralytic. Let us move on to the healing of the paralytic. Now, Jesus Christ was in Jerusalem. He was in Jerusalem for the feast of the Jews. Now, a paralytic is someone that is paralyzed. When you are paralyzed, you are referred to as a paralytic. Jesus Christ was in Jerusalem for the feast of the Jews. Alright, Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and by the sheep gates, in where? Jerusalem. By the sheep gates in Jerusalem, there was a pool. You know, a pool, a place of stagnant water. There was a pool known as the pool of Bethzatha. Now, this pool had 7 porticos. Now, porticos here means entrances. The pool had 5 porticos. The pool of Bethzatha had 5 porticos. That is 5 entrances. There were 5 points of entering into the pool. Now, the pool was spiritual, because anytime the water of the pool is troubled, now any invalid that jumps into the pool first when the water of the pool is troubled receives his healing. So because of this, they laid several invalids, several sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, deaf, dumb, around the pool, waiting to jump into the pool when the pool's water is what? Troubled. Remember, a pool is a place of stagnant water. A place of stagnant water, a pool of water. So when the pool's water is troubled, when it's no longer stagnant, if you jump into the pool as a sick person, you receive your healing. Now, so Jesus Christ was passing. Remember, Jesus Christ went to Jerusalem at this time for the feast of the what? Jews. As he was passing by, he saw this invalid who was, or this paralyzed, rather, this paralytic, who was by this pool. And Jesus Christ realized that this man has stayed here for a very long time. The man had stayed there for a long time. Now, he has stayed there for 38 years. Are we together, class? Now, Jesus Christ asked if he wants to be healed. And he said that yes, he wants to be healed. But that before he jumps into the pool, when the water is troubled, that someone jumps into the pool before him. Are we together? Now, because he's paralyzed and there are others that do not need anybody to help them, the blind for instance, they can hear that the water is troubled and they just jump in. So Jesus Christ told him if he wants to be healed, he said yes. But that when the water is troubled, someone jumps into the pool before him. And Jesus Christ told him to take up his pallet and leave. That is to be healed. Jesus Christ spoke movement into him because he was previously paralyzed. Now, that day, this miracle took place on Sabbath. A miracle took place on Sabbath. Jesus Christ told him on Sabbath to take up his pallet. And this is his bed that he lays on as a paralyzed and leave the place. Jesus Christ healed him there and then. And this day was on the Sabbath. And remember, Sabbath is supposed to be holy. You are not supposed to carry out any healing on Sabbath. So even if the water is troubled on Sabbath, you are not supposed to go into the water. Are we together, class? And so when the Jews in Jerusalem saw this man moving with his pallet on a Sabbath, they asked him, "You know it is wrong to move with your pallet on Sabbath?" And then he told these Jews that the man who healed him told him to take up his what? Pallet. I believe you don't understand me. And then they asked him who healed him, and he could not locate Jesus because Jesus had withdrawn into the crowd, and so he could not see Jesus. Now this man went to the temple, and as he went to the temple, he saw Jesus, who told him that you are healed now, that sin no more, so that something worse do not befall you. So as Jesus told him, he realized that it was Jesus that healed him previously, and went to tell the Jews that it was Jesus that healed him. And the Jews sought to kill Jesus. They hated Jesus the more because this healing of Jesus was done on Sabbath, which is a sacred day. So it meant that Jesus Christ was violating the sacrosanct, or the holiness of Sabbath. And Jesus Christ knew about their intentions and knew what they were saying, and he told them that my Father is working, that is God, his Father, even on Sabbath is working, that he, the Son of God, is also working. This statement by Jesus further angered the Jews because they realized, or they knew, that Jesus Christ was calling God his Father. And when somebody is your father, you are of the same kind with that person. A lion will be, or a goat will be the father of a kid. Both of them are goats, elderly, for lack of a better word, and the baby goats. I believe you don't understand it. So for Jesus to say God is his father, it meant that Jesus was also God. Jesus was equating himself with God, which the Jews would call blasphemy. And for this, they sought the more to also kill Jesus. I believe you don't understand me. Alright, let us quickly move on to the healing of the centurion's servant. Healing of the centurion's servant. Alright, now, there was a centurion who was a Gentile. Now, this account of the healing of the centurion's servant is gotten from this account is by Matthew and Luke. Matthew and Luke have accounts of the healing of the centurion's servant. According to Matthew, now, I'm talking about Matthew. According to Matthew, there was a centurion who was a Gentile. And he had a servant who was sick. Now, he went to meet Jesus and told Jesus that his servant was sick. And as Jesus attempted to follow him to his house to heal the servant who was at home sick, the centurion told Jesus that he is not worthy to have Jesus in his house, that Jesus should speak the words and his servant will be healed. He had confidence in the fact that Jesus Christ did not need to lay hands on his servant. Jesus Christ had the authority to make the servant heal at home, even though Jesus Christ was not around his house. And this show of unrefined faith really made Jesus marvel. And Jesus looked at the crowd that was with him and told them that even in Israel, he has not found faith as strong as that of the centurion. I believe you don't understand me. Account of what? Matthew. So in the account of Matthew, the centurion met Jesus. But in the account of Luke, Luke holds that a centurion's servant was healed at home, and the centurion sent elders to meet Jesus to tell Jesus that his servant is healed, and that Jesus should please heal his servant. The centurion sent elders to meet Jesus that his servant was healed, and that Jesus should heal him. You understand the difference here? I had to write it down. Now, as Jesus moved with the elders, and of course in the company of the multitude that always moved to him and waiting to hear his words, his preachings, his intellect, is always enlightening and spirit-filled teachings, and those that were sick and wanted to receive healing, they moved to him everywhere he went. Now, as Jesus was getting close to the centurion's house, now remember, the elders that the centurion sent to Jesus told Jesus that the centurion liked their nation a lot, and he built for them a synagogue. And that so they felt some sense of responsibility to help the centurion in his time of need. And so as Jesus heard about this, he followed them to he left where he was and decided to follow them to the centurion's house to heal the centurion's servant. And when the centurion heard that Jesus Christ was close to his house, he sent words to Jesus to tell Jesus that he is not worthy to have Jesus in his house. That if Jesus speaks the words, that he believes that his servant will be healed. Jesus Christ heard this according to who? Luke. And looked at the multitude that was with him and said that even in Israel, I have not seen faith as strong as this. So pay attention. According to Matthew, the centurion met Jesus and asked Jesus to heal his servants. According to Luke, the centurion sent elders to meet Jesus. I believe you understand me. All right, let us move to the healing of the blind. Now, Jesus Christ, the disciples of Jesus Christ saw a blind man and asked him that who sinned that made this man born blind. The disciples of Jesus Christ asked Jesus that who is the person that sinned? The blind man was born blind. They wanted to know the cause of the man's blindness. They wanted to know the cause of the man's blindness. The disciples of Jesus Christ asked, is it that the man sinned, or it is the parents that sinned that made him born blind? Because the man was born blind, so he couldn't have sinned. Or maybe he sinned it in his previous life. Because people believe in reincarnation. Believe you don't understand me. And so Jesus Christ said that it is neither the man that was born blind that sinned, nor the parents of the man that sinned. That this man was born blind so that the glory of God can manifest. So that what, class? The glory of God can manifest. And Jesus Christ continued by saying that as long as he remains on earth, he is the light of the world. Jesus Christ said, as long as he remains on what? On earth, he is the light of the world. And Jesus Christ spat on the floor and made clay with his spittle. He made clay with his what, class? Spittle. And anointed the eyes of this blind man with the clay that was mixed with the spittle of Jesus, and told the man to go to Siloam, which was also called Sent, and wash there and regain his sight. This man indeed went to Siloam and washed at Siloam. Siloam is also called what? Sent. And he washed at Siloam, and of course he regained his sight. Now let us quickly move on to the healing of blind Bartimaeus. The healing of blind Bartimaeus. Now, healing of blind Bartimaeus. According to Mark, as Jesus Christ was leaving Jericho, there was a blind man who stayed by the road and was asking for alms. And as soon as he saw that Jesus Christ was coming, he called on Jesus profusely. Master, have mercy on me. He was calling on Jesus to have mercy on him. He was calling on Jesus with so much emotion, with so much assiduity. He was calling on Jesus for Jesus to have mercy on him. Most times to succeed or to receive answers to your prayers, or most times to receive consent from God or the attention of God, you need to call on God profusely. Do you understand me? You don't just wake up in the morning and you want to pray for something and say, hello God, I know. No, you need to be vibrant about it. And that was what blind Bartimaeus did that made him gain his sight. He was calling on Jesus several times. And Jesus Christ went to meet him. The fervency in the call attracted Jesus to him. And Jesus Christ went to meet him and said, what do you want? And he said he wanted his what? His sight. And Jesus Christ healed him. And the Bible says, blind Bartimaeus followed Jesus everywhere Jesus Christ went afterwards. According to who, class? Mark. According to Mark. Mark called the name of the person that was healed. He called him Bartimaeus. Now, according to Matthew, there were two blind people. Matthew holds that the people that were healed by Jesus when Jesus Christ was leaving Jericho were 2. And then Luke on this part did not mention the name of the person. Luke holds that it was one person, but the name of the person was not mentioned. I believe anytime you come across any question with regards to healing miracles, you should be able to do justice to this. Remember, there are several variants between the different accounts of the Synoptic Gospel as it relates to healing miracles. Now, when there are variants, I have pointed out at least some of the differences that exist between them. But when there is a convergence of accounts, I do not even bother to mention according to Mark, according to Luke, according to Matthew. I just give you the tale as it is, because we do not need to dissect this tale, because the 3 Synoptic Gospels agree on the accounts, on their accounts rather. But when there are variants, I decide to pay attention to the variants, and then I mention their names or their accounts as we give the tale of the healing of Jesus Christ, healing miracles of Jesus Christ. These miracles of Jesus Christ are not exhaustive in themselves. There are other healing miracles of Jesus Christ, but for purposes of exams in British West African countries and in Liberia, we have narrowed the healing miracles of Jesus. So the healing of the leper, the healing of the paralytic, the healing of the centurion, the blind Bartimaeus. Remember, with regards to the leper, I said the leper was to present 4 items to the priest before it could be certified free and healed to mingle with the society. A scarlet, cedarwood, pigeons, hyssop. Hyssop is a plant. The stem, which I called wood previously, the stem, you hold the stem and you can dip the hyssop, which has different flowers on it. It has flowers on it. It's a beautiful plant. Dip the hyssop and sprinkle your liquid on whatever you want to sprinkle your liquid on. Now, having said this, we have come to the end of yet another entertaining class. If under any condition whatsoever you come across an information that you think you are confused about, simply drop your concerns on the comment section and we'll be glad to respond to you. Until we see you again in our next class, thank you and stay safe at a time like this. God bless you.